Hey everyone, I'm Lanier and welcome to my channel. Today I'm sitting down with former NFL Chiefs linebacker, 1970s Super Bowl champion, Pro Football Hall of Famer, and Morgan State grad, Willie Lanier, and also known as my grandfather. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, you're welcome. Happy to be here and great to have you having this broadcast today and people getting to know all about you and I.
So I feel like I'd be doing the viewers a disservice if I did not mention how you felt back in February in Miami, witnessing 50 years later the Chiefs win the Super Bowl. Describe what that moment was like for you.
Well, it's hard to believe that 50 years had gone by because at that time I was 24 years of age, I had a lot of hair, and it was interesting to be in a fourth Super Bowl in New Orleans. So all these years later, to see them finally get back to Miami, back to the 54th Super Bowl, and to have the success of the playoffs where they're behind every game. And the Super Bowl they were behind with 7 minutes and 40 seconds to go, and they finally were able to become victorious in a game that I played in a very long time ago. So all of us who had a chance to be there and to observe it, and many of us who were able to come back with the team and be a part of the parade and all of the activities that go along with the success that you might have, was very significant, so very pleasing.
Great. So coming from someone who was in their shoes, with the new season coming up, what do you think the team needs to focus on the most?
Well, the thing that they really need to focus on is that last year was last year. Mm-hmm. That if there's a thought that there's a carryover that automatically gives you an advantage, what it does is to have all the other teams who were not in your favor because you beat them to get to the Super Bowl. So they all want to let you know that you aren't going to do that again.
Right. Because
they didn't have the joy that you shared at the end of your season. So all of the teams that have a chance to play the Chiefs this coming season will feel that way about them. Mm-hmm. And the reality is that, and I'll say it like this, the year that we won, we had 11 American Football League All-Stars on our team. They didn't have 11 All-Stars on their team last year. And it still took 50 years for the team to get back.
Right.
So what occurs is that there's very little carryover. There's a requirement to define excellence and continuous improvement in a way where it's actually that. And basically every day has to be an improvement of the next day and a quality of competition at levels that they don't even have a clue as to how that has to be met each and every week to try to get the outcome to be the same as last year.
Right. Now, before you went pro, you attended Morgan State University. And as everyone knows in the news lately, many highly ranked athletes are now considering HBCUs more than they have in the past. So when you went to Morgan State, that was really, attending an HBCU was really your only option. So what do you have to say today for how important it is for young Black athletes to be taking their talents to HBCUs?
Well, the thing that happened because of segregation at that time, and especially being in the South, via Virginia down to Florida, across the Gulf of America, there was segregation. So you didn't have the opportunity to attend a majority school anyway. But with that, at least the historically Black colleges had interest in you as a total person, your education, your future outside of sport. And sport was not some automatic for you because it was still segregated there also. The number of players on many of the teams in the league, it might have been 6 to 8, and we all heard stories that it would have to be equal so that when the teams were traveling, you could have a lower cost of hotel accommodations because the Black players would room with each other on the road. Mm-hmm. So it was an even number versus odd number. Then we heard that certain positions that Black players didn't play. No linebacker was one, quarterback was the other, the safety on the defense, all these different things that might have had some degree of leadership in it. You were denied the ability to do it. So it was one of realizing that the universities, historically Black universities, were trying to offer you the full benefit of your humanity, your degree, your education, and the quality of things you could do competitively in life equal to anyone else.
Now, education has always been very important to you. You always have understood the importance of it. But to any athlete, any gender, any race, why do you think being a student is more important and should come first before being an athlete?
The thing that happens, in my view, Kendall, is that the most important words that you say in your life outside of I do when you marry is to have the words of all rights and privileges thereto appertaining said to you when you get your degree. High school, college, graduate school, you have those words said to you. Those are the most important words that can be said because that can carry you your entire life. Yes, you might be able to sign a contract to play a sport, but there is no degree in baseball, football, golf, or any of those things that you compete in. The degree is in something else. And with the degree in something else, it allows you to be a more full person, to be a more whole person. Historically, black colleges were interested in you being a more whole person. When many of the major institutions, white, they started to integrate, what occurred was that, in my view, many of them were only interested in the athletic side of that person and not the full development, getting their degree, being someone who could hold up the manner and mantle of being an educated person. It was more of the athletic side. So I felt that for many years, there was this illogical view that the push was to try to cause someone to think that being a view of athletics at a much higher level would offset that of having the quality of education.
Now, shifting the conversation a little bit, with these unprecedented times of COVID-19, no one really knows what sports will look like in the fall. What would you have to say to players and fans who are really quick to want to get back to normal lives and play sports while there is still a very real virus out there?
The science that is presented has to be viewed as correct as it can be when there's something that can cause you to die and people that you know to die. 135,000 deaths is real, and not counting the number of deaths around the world. And I have known a friend of mine that I attended high school with who passed from COVID. My brother's wife's family in Louisiana lost 4 people to COVID, and it's real. So following the science, the delays, the distancing, the shelter in place, all those things that we as a world are finding ourselves now is more important than the time that has to be taken to try to eradicate or gain control over this pandemic.
Yeah, it's very real. It's a very real thing that we have to be cautious of. So, well, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me and share your experience and insight with me and my viewers. I really appreciate it.
So you're welcome, and I'm happy to be one of those that could have this wonderful moment of time with you, granddaughter.
Well, thank you to you all for tuning in, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos.